February 16th, 2016, I was diagnosed with a life-threatening disease, senioritis. Some symptoms include lack of motivation, social probation, and severe boredom. But before I lose my last ounce of motivation, I want to leave you with a valuable lesson that I've learned and applied throughout high school. My freshman year, I had mono because I was kissing too many boys. I'm just kidding. But I did get mono, and I was really sick. I had an enlarged spleen, I had an enlarged liver, and I wasn't allowed to do any physical activity. And anyone who's had mono knows that you're tired all of the time, to the point where the doctor had to write me a note saying I could go to the nurse's office to take naps. It was crazy. And I had endless absences. I almost missed a whole 9 weeks of school. And my teachers kind of sucked with letting me make up my work. I would miss a week of school, and they would expect me to come back and take a test. And because of that, my grades dropped. And anyone who knows me, you know that I'm a straight A student. I don't really get B's ever. So it was really, really hard for me to accept the fact that my best wasn't good enough for the first time in my life. I have no hand-eye coordination at all, so I don't do sports. School is my thing. It's what I'm good at. It's what I like to do. And I remember calling my dad because I was freaking out because my grades had never been this low. And I was like, this isn't fair. My teachers are so mean. And he was like, Kayla, look, you're sick. Either way, you're going to have to finish your year, so you can either suck it up and do it, or you're going to fail. And at that time, I was like, wow, he's kind of a douche. Like, he doesn't understand. Like, he's just being unfair. But either way, I finished. My freshman year grades were kind of low, but I finished anyway. Sophomore year, very normal. Junior year was horrible. I decided to take 4 AP classes: AP English, AP Calc, AP Physics. I survived Miss Child's AP Physics class. It was the worst class I've ever taken in my life. It was so hard. And then honors Spanish. And with AP classes comes AP work, which means AP stress and AP anxiety. The amount of homework I had every night was disgusting. Like, disgusting. I spent hours upon hours doing homework. And on top of that, I was applying to colleges, going to college visits, finding out what requirements I needed to have in order to be admitted into the school of my choice. And then we have to take SATs, and then you find out you're not as smart as you think you are, and you take them a million times. And not to mention, I had my first job at that point, and I decided to work in retail. And anyone who works in retail knows how difficult that can be. You have to have an extreme level of patience to work in retail. And I was working 5 days a week, taking all of these AP classes, and once again, I remember calling my dad, and I was like, I want to drop out of AP Calc, I want to drop out of AP Physics, I want to quit my job, I'm not going to college, this is so hard. And he was like, are you kidding? Like, you have to be kidding. You made it this far in high school, you've been through far worse things, and you're going to let this get you upset. He's like, you have this situation, what are you going to do about it? You don't sit there and you don't feel sorry for yourself, you don't let it defeat you, what are you going to do about it? And once again, we got into this big fight, and I was like, you just don't understand me, you don't know what it's like. High school was so easier back then. And I did what he said, again, because I just trusted that he knew what was right, and it actually really helped me. And I came out on top, and I tried to apply that to every situation, because you'll find that it makes you far more successful. So the common theme that you might see is that, like, my dad was like my main supporter, he got me through everything. And on January 20th, I'm going to cry, but I'm going to try not to because my mascara is really expensive. January 20th was 2016 was the worst day of my life. I got woken up from a nap, and my dad's best friend called me telling me that my dad had passed away, and we didn't know why. At that point, it was really random. No one had any idea. And people were really, really insensitive. Like, you'd think that people would be kind. I had someone say, oh, I'm so sorry for your loss. I saw your dad just 2 years ago. I was like, okay. And then another person came up to me and told me, oh, it's fine. At least you still have your mom. So that was, people aren't as kind as you thought. And me and my dad had a special type of relationship. We were best friends. Like, I was never embarrassed to tell my dad anything. I talked to my dad more than I talked to my mom, and so that made me really, really angry. I would lash out on my friends, I would lash out on family, and I distanced myself from everyone. and like I had no motivation. I didn't care about anything. I didn't care about anyone. I just was sad all the time. And I remember talking to my friends, and I was like, I just don't know what to do. And they said, well, do what your dad would tell you to do. And he would tell me to suck it up and get through it, and that life goes on no matter what. You're not the only person who has life happening to you. Everyone goes through worse things. So it got to the point where I literally typed into Google how not to be sad all the time, and it came up like working out. And working out, what it does, it releases endorphins, and that's like the chemical in your brain that makes you happy. So you really don't have a choice but to feel better after you work out. And I'm like, I don't voluntarily do physical activity. I don't want to do this. But I tried it, and it worked, and I worked out every day for like 2 months now, and it really, really does help me, and it takes up a lot of my time, and even though it's extremely tough, it's a really good coping mechanism for me. So what I want to leave with you guys is, throughout life you can be either one of two things. You can be a victim, or you can be a fighter. You can let something defeat you. You can let something control the rest of your life and make you do negative things, but you need to remember that a victim is only a victim because you allow yourself to be. You can choose to be a fighter, and I believe in that so much. I even have that tattooed on me, never a victim, forever a fighter. So I just want to leave you guys with that and hope you apply it to your everyday life.